Well, boys, we've done it. It seems impossible, but I think this is episode 5 of the 0scars. I'm John,
I'm Kylan.
I'm Eli.
I'm Alex.
and with us today is our special guest. You know him as your mom's favorite member of Rare Western and the man voted most likely to go viral in his middle school yearbook, Christian Hissam. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure. So, boys, Heartbeeps.
Oof.
It's a movie. We saw it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But
There's been some mixed reception in our group.
there is some mixed reception, and I already saw in the eyes of the people just looking into your faces as I said that. I felt some tension, some shock, a little concern. So I want to give us some time to unwind. So just in general, how are you guys doing before we get into the meat of it? Seen anything good recently? Any good movies? How you been doing?
I've not seen any movies, but I've been watching Dark Side of the Ring, the documentary from Vice. It's really good. I watched the first season and part 1 of their Chris Benoit episodes. It's really good, really well made.
What is it about?
It is about wrestlers doing drugs and dying, pretty much.
Nice.
It's about like
Nice,
Macho Man?
nice.
Macho Man's in the first episode. The first episode's about him and Miss Elizabeth, and it's really just about like the sad stuff that goes on, behind the scenes. It's really well made.
That's the name.
Is there like a lot of substance abuse in wrestling?
Yeah,
There's Macho Man.
that is Macho Man on Alex's background.
His heart gave out from steroids.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that because I don't know anything about wrestling.
Well, his heart gave out while he was driving, and then he crashed.
Well,
But as for me, I've been doing hacking. Eli, I overrided you there as I always do,
Yeah.
yeah.
as I should.
Mhm.
My God-given right.
All right. Are you gonna say?
I haven't watched any movies. That's it. That's all I got for you.
Beautiful, beautiful. A really detailed tapestry of what's going on in your life. So Alex, you were packing as well, I guess, because we're both moving this week. Yeah. So
You're moving back, aren't you?
yeah, I'm moving back. Yeah. So I'll be there. I move out tomorrow, but
Oh boy.
I have not really done any of my packing yet. I started once a week ago, and I was like, "This is a good start. I'm starting a good trend," and then I didn't get back to it. So
It's completely fair. I understand.
yeah, we'll see. What about you, Eli? Have you watched anything interesting?
No. I
Bold.
finished a video game called Soma. That was pretty good. Very enjoyable. About self-identity and such. That's about it.
What can you expand on that anymore?
So the
That's-
plot of the game is basically this guy gets a brain scan. It's like a sci-fi. This
Mhm.
dude gets a brain scan that essentially creates a copy of himself. All right. And then 100 years later, that copy is uploaded into a robot, right? But to the copy, it just feels like he's woken up from that original point 100 years ago, right?
Hmm.
So it's like, well, is this really him? Because original him died 100 years ago, but the robot copy still feels as if nothing's changed.
Oh,
And he gets
okay.
into a whole thing. It's pretty good.
It's basically it's a gritty version of the Legend of Zelda, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, exactly.
This is Link's
Yeah, it was sued for
plight.
copyright infringement.
Good. What about you, Christian? Have you watched anything interesting? How have you been?
Yes, I have. I've been good. I recently just finished all of Community.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes. It was a good 5 seasons. And then there's a 6th season.
wait. So
Huh?
wait, I have a question about that. So which season are you excluding exactly when you say there were only 5 seasons?
Season 6.
Really?
Not season 4.
Not season 4.
No. Season
Not the
6.
gas leak season.
No. Season 6 is garbage.
You think? But
Like,
I don't necessarily disagree. But
Yeah.
do you? So, but if you could only watch one, would you choose season 4 over season 6?
yes. I would.
Bold.
I would. I don't know. I just feel like the writing was not there in season 6.
Hmm.
Characters weren't consistent. They just wrote off a bunch of characters. It just wasn't the same.
Yeah, I think it was really tough for that last one because you don't have either Chevy Chase or Donald Glover, and
Mm.
it sort of feels like a lot of the heart of that show. It's
then,
because they're trying to basically cast those people again, just as
Yeah.
different people, which is it's kind of fun and meta, but also it's hard to recapture that original charm.
And
Yeah.
Yvette Nicole Brown's only in like one episode for an
Oh,
extended
yeah.
amount of time.
She's
in
in the
season
first
6.
episode
Yeah,
at the very end of the episode. And then in the last episode for like 2 seconds. So
yeah. You do get that guy from Breaking Bad, though, don't you?
He was season 5.
yeah, he's
Was
in
it season
Oh, was
6?
he in season 5?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, my
season
whole
6 is
timeline's out of whack.
Keith David.
Keith
That's
Richards.
season 6. Yeah, Keith Richards.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, it's a great show. I've been very slowly rewatching that. I think I just started season 2, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, it's strong stuff. As for myself, if I may throw this in here,
Yeah.
I did watch A Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which I'm a big fan of. It's a 17th or 18th century. It's when it's set, but it's a French film, and it's about a woman who's brought on to redo a portrait that her father had done for a woman who was a French woman who was going to marry this rich businessman from Milan, but then she kills herself. So they have to redo the painting because the next in line, her sister, is scheduled to be forced into this marriage. So the daughter of the painter is brought in to redo a proper portrait because no one's able to do it because she won't sit for a portrait. So they're basically, the whole thing is like trying to like sneak glances. She basically comes in and just like, I'm just here to hang out and walk with you and talk with you. And the whole time she's just like, okay, well, the ear goes there. All right, this is good stuff. But then they fall in love because this movie was good. And that's all I'll say about that. But yeah, it's like really, it has like incredible atmosphere, and it's like really tense the whole time because it's all of this. It's like you as the viewer can see the two ways of like stolen glances back and forth and the tension that's brought in with that. But then obviously the characters aren't totally aware of that situation. It's just really neat. It's a really cool part of it's almost like a psychological thriller type thing, but for like a relationship, which I feel like resonates for me of like, I think we've all had those experiences of like, you're like, what does this look mean? Like, yeah. So it's very relatable in that regard, but it was a really good film. But anyways, as for things that are less good, Heartbeeps. Shall we do a few timed summaries? I believe,
I think so.
Alex, I believe you have the 25-second slot this time, right?
Yes, I do.
All right, excellent. So let me pull up this timer. All right. So you want me to count you in?
Count me in, boy.
All right. Heartbeeps in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so you have two robots, a man and a woman. They start flirting like awkward middle schoolers, right? Then there's this other random robot that pops up. He tells jokes. He's kind of funny. They all break out from their storage unit at some factory to go look at trees. And they do it a lot. And then they built a child, and then they get chased by an awesome robot who's named Crimebot. And eventually they live happily ever after the end.
Beautiful, succinct. I love it. What do you guys remember what the name is? Like Val, right? Is Andy Kaufman's
Yeah.
character? And what's the woman robot's name?
Aqua.
Agua?
Val and Aqua?
Yeah.
Aqua.
He pronounced it Aqua, but it's spelled
Aqua.
Aqua. So.
Yeah. He should know better. All right. So I had the 20, right? This is mine?
Yeah.
All right. I'll count myself in 3, 2, 1, go. It's a movie all about Crimebot, and then there's this other two robots as well. Crimebot is trying to stop them. He's trying to do his darndest. He mishears the communication, but he's a good guy at heart. Anyways, these two lovers, they run off. They're robots. They build a boy, and then they pretend to be trees, and then they get away, and then Crimebot is savagely murdered, and he's justice is not done. His loss is not atoned.
Incredible.
Beautiful.
Nice,
just truth.
nice.
Perfectly framed.
All right, we have Eli.
Oh, yes.
Oof.
Eli with the beautiful 15-second slot. I'm really excited to see what you do with this.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Two robots fall in love. They decide to go out to look at trees. They then build a boy robot to carry things, which is form of slavery. They then decide, we have to go back because boy robot is dying. Then they save the boy robot. That's the movie.
And again, with time to spare, I think you had time over the last time we did
There's
this.
just, I got these movies down pat.
Yeah. You really got a target on them. All right, Kylan with the 10 seconds. All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
2 robots fall in love, go out to the woods with another robot. They build another robot. All this stuff happens. They need to get the other robot fixed, and then they go into this junkyard. They leave it. You think they're dead, but they're not. The junkyard people fix them.
Not bad.
We love to see it. And Christian, the coveted 5-second slot. All right. I'll count you in. All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Robots, data collection, love, death, and resurrection.
Ooh.
2.5 seconds to spare.
Beautiful. He knew what he wanted to say and he did it.
I had all that time to think.
that is the only useful part is like you're able to hear what other people are doing and you're like, oh, that's what happened in this movie. I've definitely done that.
I probably pitched it the same way that they pitched it. I was like,
you have 5 seconds in that elevator and you've got to make that crucial pitch and they go,
death and resurrection.
Okay. They go, oh.
So this was just an episode of Love, Death, and Robots from that.
This was the I don't know that it's gritty. This is definitely maybe this is a prequel to the robot film, the film
Right.
Robots.
Gotcha.
Ooh,
starring Will
yeah.
Smith. Wait, no.
That's iRobot.
No, that's iRobot.
But I would like to see iRobots though. Will Smith as Rodney Copperbottom.
Oh, I forgot about that movie. That was one of my favorite movies as a child.
I have never seen it.
It's very good.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah. Christian, do you still hold that Robots is your favorite film? I don't know if you were
No.
saying that ironically.
It was a joke. It was a joke.
I can't tell, I just want to make sure.
Well, is Heartbeeps your favorite movie?
Yeah.
No.
Well, you're obviously
Like
lying
these
now.
bitter movies.
Alex, do you want to start setting the scene and walk us through what happened in Heartbeeps?
I will try my darndest to walk you through this masterpiece of cinematography. So, the film opens, right? We're in some kind of factory, some kind of robotics, like warehouse type deal.
Mhm.
And you got these 2 guys that are carting along this very creepy looking, I guess it's a robot. It's definitely just a guy with like a plastic face on.
Yeah.
It's
It
very
looks like an
disturbing.
enlarged ventriloquist dummy.
Yes, it really does.
Yeah.
It looks like Andy Kaufman.
It looks
But a
like Andy
robot.
Kaufman in a robot. I think you're onto something.
So they're carting him away to put him in storage to be repaired because he dropped something on his foot and his foot was broken somehow.
Yeah. Can't be repaired.
Exactly. So they put him on storage next to this other robot who is a female robot. Ooh, love interest. And then they sit there and they talk about a sunset for about 5 minutes. And flirting I guess it was flirting. I don't know. Simulating flirting like
Yeah,
middle
yeah.
schoolers. And then the credits start rolling, right? Opening credits, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you
The movie
see a
ends.
few
I
names.
wish it was the end credit.
You see a few names, and then you see music by John Williams, and you're like, what, really? How is this film a 0%er if it has John Williams doing music? Anyway, so they sit and stare at the sunset for a while. They hold hands because they were scared of a storm. How are robots scared of a storm? I don't understand.
But you don't have a problem with how the robots fall in love?
Well, obviously, that's just natural, John.
That's just what robots do.
Well, Alex, they were scared of the byproduct of the storm being rain, which they're not waterproof.
But
That's what they were scared
they
of.
crossed water later in the film, but we'll discuss that later.
They crossed it.
Anyway, so they sit there for, I guess, overnight, and then they have another robot introduced who's he's a funny guy. He's a comedian robot who sits there and smokes a fat cigar that never burns out. And eventually, Val, the Andy Kaufman robot, is like, I specialize in stocks, specifically lumber stocks. And I see trees out there that I want to go investigate. And he was like, wink, wink, you want to go with me, female robot? And she was like, yeah, sure. So they wander off in their little robotic fashion.
Well, little
Funny
wild.
guy tags along for some reason.
Can I make a comment about the comedian?
Yes.
I don't know if this is something that you guys shared, but it's just my brain sometimes makes associations that I can't explain or defend.
Mm.
But I was getting serious shades of the boss from Monsters Inc. I'm thinking about this comedian
Mr.
robot.
Waternoose?
Yes,
He kind of
the
does look
spider.
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. In the face. I don't know, just the whole presence of him. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the resemblance.
Yeah. He doesn't have that boss did not have as many good jokes, but
No, he did not.
But he also didn't have as many jokes. This man was definitely a quantity over quality sort of kind of guy.
And there was no quality.
Well, there's an explanation for the quality later on.
Yeah, there is.
True.
So
He's a hero.
they wander off. They steal a van, and they drive this van very erratically, which you can actually tell is very much just them driving the van slowly and them speeding it up in post-production, which I really enjoyed. They eventually crash the van, and they're like, "Oh, we're out here in the wilderness. How are we gonna survive? I guess let's go look at more trees and carry all this other stuff from the van." But wait, we can't carry it. So what do? They build a son and name him Philco or something like that. And they give this son dull down sentience, because they're like, we're not going to make him serve people.
Yeah,
So build a son to carry their stuff, like Eli said, a form of slavery. And they wander off some more. They look at some trees. They definitely didn't look at trees the entire time they were actually trying to look for trees.
Yeah, I'm starting to think this wasn't even their real mission.
I feel lied to.
Yeah.
Well, my
And if
thing
I
was
can't trust the robots, what can I
they were
trust?
in the trees the entire time. They got to the trees in the first 20 minutes.
They
Did they take the data that they needed and go home?
That would be a very interesting movie if they really just did get to the trees and they go, well, we got what we came for. And they just go back to the factory and they're never noticed.
I mean, the rest of the movie was unnecessary.
Yeah.
So unnecessary.
This movie, in the same way that The Thing with Two Heads reminds me of an SNL skit, this movie very much reminds me of like an SNL skit, because the idea is just, it's like that elevator pitch premise, right? Like these two robots fall in love and they go out looking. Like it doesn't make sense as a feature-length film. There's not enough thrust to make a full movie, and they did it anyways. They didn't care.
Alex, you mentioned Crime Buster yet?
Oh,
And
I
that
have
he's-
not mentioned Crime Buster. I think it's Crime Bot.
Yeah, I think
it's Crime Bot, but I think he calls himself a crime buster,
Right.
because he's a member of a long lineage of crime busters. You
But-
should mention that he has a cold open as well,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
made me think
He
that
does
I
have
had.
a cold open. So cut back to the very beginning of the film. You have this extremely weird-looking
Odd.
robot that is basically just a pyramid on wheels with lots of guns, shouting about
Flamethrowers.
what?
And flamethrowers.
And flamethrowers, shouting about finding perps and arresting blah blah blah, and then blowing up random tree stump. So that was a good
Beautiful.
call.
Yeah,
It was very
that tree stump deserved it. That tree stump did not pay its taxes.
Specifically, I really like the scene later on where Crimebot's just driving and playing America the Beautiful
Yes.
really loud.
Well, he's also singing along to it, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like
I think
he's
so.
performing his own version.
One of my favorite lines of the film comes from Crimebot. He says something like, "We've got to make the world safe for democracy."
Yes.
That was a highlight.
Indeed. I think every time Crimebot is on screen, I'm like, this is a good movie. Also, so it starts as a cold open, right? Like even before the proper movie
Yes.
starts, which made me think that the means of which I was viewing it was wrong. Like I thought it was like, oh, did this start in the middle of the film? Like what is going on? And then surprise, but
It's just a cold open.
you can't script.
They gotta hook you with the Crimebot.
Yeah. I came for the Crimebot. I stayed for also Crimebot.
So eventually people in the warehouse are like, oh my god, these robots are missing. They're discussing about finding these robots. And Crimebot perks his little microphone up and completely misinterprets, but it's good because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I've got to go find these robots and apprehend them. So Crimebot then also busts out of the factory and starts chasing these robots along, like in tandem, but not with two of the factory workers that kind of let the robots go on their shift. So what happens after that? Crimebot breaks out. They're wandering around in the woods.
Bear nonsense.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that happened.
It was probably about noon at the time, and they're like, "It's getting dark out."
This is
this
the
Manos?
same. This is the same trope that we saw in Manos. Yeah.
Yes. I forgot about that scene. But
So
it's like the middle of the day. The sun is super bright, and they're like, "It's getting dark out. We need to find shelter," even though they're robots and they can probably see in the dark.
yeah.
So Val, the guy robot, it was like, "There's a cave up there that we could go spend the evening in, I guess." And they're like, "Oh, I wonder if there's any hostile animals in there." Sure enough, there was a bear. The bear throws him out. I don't know how the bear threw him like that. The bear threw him like 30 feet.
He works out.
And Val gets injured and all that fun stuff. And he goes, "That was a camel." I really enjoyed that line.
Mm. It's a classic subversion because we as viewers knew that it was a bear, not a camel. But this robot doesn't know any better.
So then a helicopter shows up because they're looking for the robots, and they scare away the bear. And then they go into the cave. The robots go in the cave, and they spend the night for some reason. And there's like a very touching moment where they're talking about their pleasure sensors. I thought that was going to go a completely different.
You said touching. Hold up.
Well, they were touching. They hugged.
Yes.
They embraced.
Oh, so you weren't saying that this was a scene where you got really emotional?
Oh, I was sarcastically saying that. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So very, very touching moment where they talk.
I was crying during that scene, so I just wasn't sure if we were on the same page.
When you mentioned a touching moment, I thought you were going to talk about the little robot laughing at Catskill's jokes.
Oh, that was also a good one.
Companionship.
But unimportant to this beautiful plot.
Yeah.
So they like fall in love in a way, and they're like, "Oh, the little robot, their son Phil, and the comedian guy. You say his name was Catskill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show up and like interrupt their moment. They're like, "Oh, we were just like calibrating and blah blah blah." All like a trope that you see a lot in movies.
It's the classic thing that happens when your surrogate son and the man who lives with you who tells jokes runs in on you and your new girlfriend in a cave. A moment I think that we can all relate to.
Yeah.
I've had that happen.
Yeah. It's just you can't catch a break sometimes. Yeah.
So then they do that, and then I think if I remember correctly, they automatically leave the cave even though it's dark.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is totally the reason why, but they're low on energy or whatever. They need like new fuel cells essentially. So maybe that's why they left the cave.
Right. But they stayed in the cave because it was getting dark.
Yeah.
And also later in the film, Val tells his little surrogate son, Phil, "Don't be afraid of the dark because we know where we're going." So why would you? They stop in the cave for no reason. That's my only complaint with the film.
So they can have
The
a bear.
only one.
I'm on a call.
Did you guys think?
Yeah. Hello, this is my cousin. You all have met her before.
Cameo.
Hello.
Yo, what's up?
Hi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Podcast.
Ooh, am
We're
I
on.
on the podcast right now?
You are right now.
It'll be on the podcast, yes.
But only for a moment, it was only your head, which is a real shock.
That's funny. Well, bye, your old podcast.
Bye.
I was just.
You're bored? I'll be done in like an hour.
You're fine.
All right.
Because
Bye.
I might go. I'm gonna go dog sit.
Oh, have fun. Now,
You guys
back to
believe
what I was
Alex
saying
has a
before. I was
cousin?
rudely interrupted.
So embarrassing.
Who has cousins?
I know, right? What was I saying?
Bear, only complaint, cave, dark.
Cave. Okay, so they start traveling in the night.
Robots.
their power cells are getting low or whatever. And they stumble upon like a little tiny town. And they go to a robotic store to like try and find power cells, and shocking, they don't have them. Plot progresses.
Here comes crime.
I
Buster.
was
They start
surprised. I will
sneaking around
say.
the town, and boom, who is it? Crime Bot. Now it's not a pair. This quartet of delinquent robots was trying to blend in and cover themselves with shrubs and bushes and such.
Yeah.
And Crime Bot, being a good cop, was like, "Hey, identify yourself, or I'll shoot you."
He definitely has the cop instincts. I'll give him that.
Yeah. So they're like, "We are bush bots, and we're just trying to go to like G sector or something like that." And he goes, "Bush bots, very likely." Then he calls the police. And he's like, "I want you all to stay there until the police arrive for their 4 a.m. shift." So then they confuse Crime Bot because they said, "Well, can robots actually be criminals? But we're programmed to do good. So would that mean that our programming isn't good?" Or something like that.
It was very much a Kylan logic moment.
It made moral sense.
Makes total sense.
Basically,
Then they said it over and over and over again. Got even more high pitched every time they said it.
Well, that's how you know it's working.
Yeah.
So Crimebot starts freaking out. He goes on a spree, shoots his flamethrower just to look cool.
Yeah.
Because it does look cool.
It does look very cool, yes. And the quartet of robots moseys on away. And for some, I don't understand why they did this exactly, but they're like, "Oh, there's a party over there. Let's go blend into this party that we definitely don't blend in at."
Well, Aqua particularly was a robot that was meant for socializing and for like
Right.
being like a hostess for parties. So I could see it. If they were paying off something they spent a lot of time to really set
Yeah.
up.
Very, very intricately set up early on in the plot.
And there were other robots at the party, so I don't know that it would have been that crazy.
Right.
If they were there, and they basically blend in as hosts, right?
Right. Okay. You saved the film for me, John.
I did, yeah. Andy Kaufman paid me a lot of money posthumously.
So they go into the party and they like serve some horse duvers and call back to Roller Boogie.
Yeah, all these films are connected. It's like George Lucas created them. It's just beautifully intricate. Yeah,
Catskill is killing it with his jokes there.
He had some good jokes there.
Everyone was loving him.
So they're over there at the party, and out of nowhere, Crime Bot pops in. He busts through the window, and he's shooting everything, shooting flamethrowers, busting down the walls. And he rolls on. He says, "Thank you for cooperating with this police investigation." It was also very good. There's some more meandering and very awkward meandering because they can barely walk because they're robots.
Yeah.
But they go to a junkyard.
Junkyard. Yes, they go to a junkyard and attempt to find more power cells because apparently everyone's running low on power. And there they encounter two like individuals that live in the junkyard, I guess. They're like robot specialists.
They're future people.
They're future people, and they live in future people places, junkyards.
So the groups have a bit of a banter exchange, and then boom, who is it again? Crime Bot. And Crime Bot, he's like, "I have them cornered now. Everything is going to plan. This investigation can finally be closed. I've done my job." And then these two hooligans jump on Crime Bot and cut his wires and disable him.
Also, Crime Bot was like, "I'm going to execute all of you now." No questioning. He's like, execution time. He starts shooting at them.
Disassemble you.
Also, you say, I'm interested in the way that you phrased that, Alex, because you said that they jumped on him, cut his wires, and disabled him. They killed Crime Bot.
Yeah, that is true. They
And I know-
It was murder.
cold-blooded
Let's
murder.
not use this coded language to make it sound less bad than it was. That day in American Eagle, a bald eagle shed a tear, the last tear, onto the grave of Benjamin Franklin. and that invented electricity. Anyways, as you were saying.
Anyway, they straight up cold-blooded murder our boy Crimebot. And then the groups are talking again. They're like, our power cells are low. What do we do? And they come to the conclusion, let's just turn back to the factory that we've been walking away from for like the last hour.
Yeah.
And they start meandering on back.
It's sort of like Mad Max Fury Road, if you guys have seen that movie.
I have not.
Well,
Like Lord of the Rings. And they go really far.
They go really far and then they come back.
to where they were.
Like the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
I really want to see like a detailed film write-up. This should be the next Troy Western piece, but it's a detailed breakdown comparing the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Mad Max Fury Road.
I couldn't do it.
Third one. What was the third one you said, Eli? Oh, the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Ah, beautiful.
Terrible.
So, our protagonists start meandering on back.
Antagonists, they're murderer.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Crimebot was the only.
They're criminal.
They can be the protagonists, they just aren't good people. They're sort of
That's true.
anti-heroes. Yeah.
They're Walter Whites of this world.
They start meandering on back, and they're like, our power is running really low. Oh no, we have like 9% and 8%.
Yeah.
And then they keep meandering, and they see the factory in the distance, and then but little Phil's power is on like 2%, but Catskill, that boy's power is on 44%. Being a true trooper, he replaces Phil's power with his own, and he dies, shuts down, whatever. It's very emotional. It's very sad.
And then
There are a lot
Val
of-
is like, how did he have that much power? And he checks him and he says, he's been running low energy jokes this whole time.
Which some of those were
I
pretty
missed
high
that.
energy level jokes,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
You can only imagine what the high energy jokes were.
No,
Which, that is like the most payoff any joke in this film had.
It's pretty good. Because he tells dad jokes the entire time.
Yeah.
Is the context.
Mm-hmm. So they have to leave poor Buddy behind, and they keep meandering. Eventually, the people that are looking for the lost robots, they find Catskill, and they put him into their truck, and they start looking for the rest of them. And then they see the factory in the distance. It's only like probably half a mile away. And then both Val and Aqua, I don't know how he pronounced it. Agua.
Water robot.
Both of their power is depleted, and they have an embrace while they're found, and their little son thing is sitting there very sad as it watches its surrogate parents be tossed into a truck and driven away. And then it cuts to another scene where the people that found the robots are being questioned, and they're like, I wonder what happened to those robots. They're like, well, they kept running off. We don't know what was happening. So eventually we just junked them. And you're like, oh no, are they all dead? No. It cuts to the junkyard. And those heathenish murderers brought back Val and Agua, and their son from the grave to go live on another life of tyranny. And
they built another robot daughter.
They did build another robot daughter. I guess. It was really weird.
And then there's one final scene.
There is one final scene that is probably the most important scene in the movie. Where Crimebot, you think he's done for. It cuts back to the factory. His little sensors perk up again. Boom! Breaks through the factory doors, and he goes, they thought they could wash my circuits. No, I played dumb. Crimebot never loses a case. And then it cuts. The end.
He's so inspirational. What a beautiful, beautiful film.
That movie took 80 minutes of my life.
It was the best 80 minutes you've had.
90 minutes of mine.
It was 78 minutes, guys. Come on, let's not lie here. It was really
You
only...
had to factor in the 2 minutes of crying afterwards.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
After realizing what you've done.
You have to factor in the 2 minutes of crying when I stopped every 2 minutes to cry about the film because it's so emotional.
Your
It was a
soul
cool
evaporates.
160. Yeah.
Good God, what a terrible film.
I liked it.
Mm,
It was not bad.
it
I
was
hate
awful.
it. I hate it
It's
so
not
much.
the least.
So there's obviously some mixed reception here. Why don't we address this in the room?
No.
Okay, that's
Yeah, let's dig into this a little bit.
so Eli, Kylan, and Christian, I guess, you all really did not like this film.
Yeah, no,
Accurate.
it was garbage.
That is true.
How
Wait,
about
did you get a version without CrimeBot?
Those are the only good parts.
They
I'll
are
admit
the best
that
parts,
was
for sure.
definitely the best part.
Yeah.
Like every time the other robots talked, I wanted to throw my laptop.
And like, his laptop wasn't even playing the film. It was just because it was the closest thing to a robot that you had nearby, I can only assume.
It was just like they could have done it to where they didn't sound so annoying.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Like literally, like Andy Kaufman's robot Val literally sounds like Pee Wee Herman.
I didn't find them that annoying. Maybe I have a high tolerance.
Did you watch the same movie then? Were you watching robots?
Wait. Wait, hold up. Maybe. To recap, we all think it's a great film.
Inaccurate.
No more discussion needed.
Can I
No discussion needed.
can I have a moment of vulnerability though? Is that allowed?
Yes.
Please.
I guess.
Okay, so thank you. So I will say I think I enjoyed this movie. However, this movie is slow paced. It left me a lot of time for reflection. And I was pretty aware that both Wolfenbargers thought pretty disparagingly of this film. And every film that we've watched, I've thought, oh, that's better than the last one. To the point where it's my ranking order is just the movie we've seen most recently is number one, and then descending is just how long we've seen that film. But it's really started to make me wonder, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm too, I don't know. Like
We've known that you're a problem for a long time, Sean.
I'm sure it's not really a surprise, but I feel like I treat these movies too amicably. I'm like, it's pretty good. So I don't know what to do about that. I don't know that I can change it, but
I have an input real quick. So you're saying that at one point, Manos was the number one film.
yes, because we'd only seen one film.
Yes,
It was the number one for all of
Yeah.
us. Honestly, my number one's the thing with two heads still.
Same.
I think I'm torn between this one, Roller Boogie, and the thing with two heads.
a three-way split.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this one is probably the best one I've seen out of
Really?
in this
Yeah.
podcast.
I can definitely see the argument for that, because I feel like it's interesting that we're starting to get more into the films that are like they have a clear budget and they're not just really crappy and cheap.
Mhm.
So like with Manos, the Hands of Fate, and like They Saved Hitler's Brain, they clearly are just trying to make a film for as little money as possible, right?
Yeah, this film actually had a $10 million budget
Yeah.
and only made $2 million.
I
They
mean,
lost $8 million.
I wonder
this
why.
movie looked good.
Yeah.
It had John Williams,
John Williams.
which I mean, this isn't memorable like Star Wars or Indiana Jones, but I mean, come on, it's Heartbeeps.
You don't remember CrimeBot's theme?
But yeah, like, production-wise, it's the best one so far. It's just the whole storyline I hated so much.
What do you hate about it, Kyle?
Yeah, I also
I
like
found it
this.
to be very dragging and boring. I didn't care about the characters other than CrimeBot, of course. It was just like, I was like, why? I don't care the whole time. With other movies, I've at least been like, okay, I care somewhat about this one character and this character. This one's just like, I don't at all.
So you couldn't relate to them in any way? Is that it?
Well, I'm not a robot, so no.
Oh, dang it.
So the first 5 minutes of the movie, where it's just them talking to each other, for that 5 minutes, I was like, this might be good.
Mhm. I also thought the same thing.
Because it
proved right.
grabbed me I was like, this is so weird hearing two computers talk to each other basically with no actual understanding of, like, they're always trying to relate it to what their speciality was. I liked that, and then it just lost me.
Hmm.
It seemed like they lost.
They were doing anyway.
They tried less and less to act like robots as the movie went on.
They
Mhm.
were becoming more human.
Okay.
This is
See,
that beautiful character
I
development.
think that's what they were going for, but it was also a little off-putting at times because
Yeah, I
this guy's supposed to be a robot, and he'll say something very nonchalantly, like you hear in regular conversation, and then 5 minutes later he'll say something like, "That doesn't compute," or
Right.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, it's weird when you have someone who's ostensibly a comedian, but they're playing a humorless robot. It's a
Yeah.
difficult role, to pull off.
So, Eli, is there anything else you wanted to elaborate on why you hated it?
On why I hated it. Well, nothing happens. The whole
They build a sentient child.
for no reason.
To carry
Get their
things.
stuff.
They're already in the woods. The trees are there. Where are they going at that point? Then they go somewhere. Then no one thought about the fact that they literally have a time limit on their lifespan that is less than a day. That is within a day.
Only Catskill thought of that.
I do. Are we to believe that they were fully charged at the warehouse?
Well, no, but
Because my
They
understanding
could have
was
only
that
had like a 25% charge.
yeah. My understanding was that they lasted a long time, but
if it was
maybe
only
they had
25%, that means that they can only live 4 days out of the warehouse.
Well, they
We
have
don't
their
know the
batteries
number.
replaced.
Okay, simple math, John. This film is
It might-
awful.
it might it might not be a linear decrease.
They go into the woods and then say, "Oh, we should probably go back to the warehouse or we'll die."
You also have to include the fact that the variable that they were using a lot of energy to look at those trees.
That's true. They were staring so intently, and maybe being human is more demanding.
Why was their first thought when they realized, "Oh, we have low batteries"? Go to a store further away from the warehouse that they know is life saving.
Well, they thought the store would be well stocked.
Why
How are they supposed to know? They look it up online on BestBuy.com.
First place, if she's a socializer, why did there's no reason for them to make a child when they never needed any of those parts later?
Why does anyone make a child? They don't need it. So in the moment, it seemed like a good idea, and they just kept with it.
20 years later, it doesn't make any sense. Crimebot shows up just to die. There's absolutely nothing for the whole thing, except for going around screaming one-liners.
No, Crimebot did run through that house. Just
But
to
that's true. Anything.
Did you like how the host of that party afterwards, the guy was like, I have to say it went pretty well or something like that. The woman's just like, what? He's like, people are
It was a
talking
good
about
party.
it.
Any party with Crimebot is a good party, okay?
I agree with everything Eli said. It is my least favorite film we've watched. It's probably on, technical basis and all that better than stuff like They Saved Hitler's Brain. But my God, I hate this movie.
It's so bad. It's so bad. What? I can't even speak about it almost. It broke me. This is the first one. The rest of them I made it through pretty easy. Okay, the two people they meet in the junkyard. What's wrong with those people? Why?
They're the future.
They're future people.
There's a point.
They're young people.
There's a point where so they ruthlessly murder Crimebot, and then
I did cry. I understand that part's bad. No,
the two of the robots walk up and go, "You did it," and then the woman's like, "Yeah, we did," and then the guy goes, "But from a technological point of view, we just rewired some wires." Why does he say from a technological point of view when the whole thing they've been talking about is technology? He's completely redundant. It's terrible writing.
he's trying to relate to the
It
robots.
doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because why are these two humans these weird tech hippies living in a junkyard when ostensibly all the other people are normal. The people that work in the warehouse don't talk like them, and they're the people that make robots.
They don't make the robots.
No, they just
first
store
off.
them in
They
the warehouse.
repair them.
But let's talk about that warehouse for a second.
Yeah.
Please.
Ow. Okay, it's a warehouse with multi-million-dollar robots, right?
Yes.
And you're gonna tell me there's no security?
Crimebot
Was
was
not a single security guard? No, Crimebot was not the security. He was being repaired. There was not a single person at that warehouse. I was like, I mean, someone could come in and rob this place.
Yeah.
They were all over there, playing Boggle
The only
or whatever they were playing.
The only good thing about that warehouse is that Dick Miller worked there. That was it.
Do you think he came with the warehouse?
I think Dick Miller came with the warehouse. He was a joint deal, like you buy furniture with a house.
Yeah.
They said,
He's
this guy was
built
great.
in, yeah.
This guy was great in a bucket of blood and chopping mall. Let's get him in here.
Also,
oh,
I was going to say when the warehouse people are sitting around while they're breaking out or whatever. At one point, the guy's like, "We built robots. We don't even know what they can do. Why would you build it if you don't know what it can do?" And the one guy's like, "What are you talking about? Why is the processing so high? This is unnecessary." And the guy's like, "Because it's progress." It's like, what are you talking about?
it's like the precursors of Westworld.
Well, see, this was a thing I didn't understand until I looked up the Wikipedia page later, is that this actually takes place in the same universe as AI.
Is that true?
I've seen it.
No.
Oh, okay.
Also,
so
back,
Christian.
Like a
was gonna say-
stupid version of AI.
back to the junkyard people. Their clothes are really futuristic, but the warehouse
They're
people
wearing
are wearing
a
like
lab coat.
In a junkyard.
You can buy
I
a
don't
lab
remember them
coat.
wearing
Like,
a lab coat. Maybe I looked at it wrong, but it looked like weird. Community, the episode where they make the futuristic movie, it looked like the stuff Jeff was wearing. I thought maybe I misremembering, but then the lab, the people at the warehouse wearing like new jumpsuits, just normal stuff.
they were wearing. I thought they were wearing lab coats with like gloves on.
I just remember the first
Goggles and
time-
Stuff and
Roll the
Don't worry
film
about it.
back. Watch it again.
Yeah. Play it back.
Oh.
The whole thing.
Also, going back to Christian's point, not only is there no security in this warehouse, but also the way that they store the robots is that they're just up on these platforms with like one little wire to like, I would be worried about these robots falling off, because we see that these robots just leave,
Yeah.
It's weird the way they store. There's a lot of disregard. Also that guy get this maybe just this is just warehouse working class stuff, but like, he keeps kicking the robot because he gets mad at it, which like I feel like there's somebody watching them with like a there should be like a clipboard and they're like, that's this dock off your pay. Yeah.
Well,
Also,
about their pay, when they when that helicopter, the pilot says, "Oh, you really want to go back? If you lose these, you have to pay for them." No,
If you lose what?
the robots, because
Oh,
they're the ones who stored them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just liability.
Yeah, but I mean, like, my thing about that is like, if you're gonna make your workers pay for the robots that get lost, hire some security.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
also doesn't make any sense because why is it those two when there are 40 people in this warehouse and they clearly just put them on the shelf and then the robots walked off?
From what I understand, while they were sitting there playing boggle poker or whatever they were doing, they were supposed to be instead like looking after the robots and taking inventory.
Well, that one guy was.
That one
Because-
guy was, yeah.
Because he comes back and asks
He
where
was
they
kind of
moved
looking
the
like a
robots.
security guard, wasn't he?
Dick Miller?
I think he was just another warehouse employee because I think he was just taking inventory. No, not Dick Miller.
Okay.
Also, why? Okay, the robots. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but this was like a little detail that stood out to me in my watch through. So the robots can walk.
Yes.
They can move by themselves. Why do we need these people? Why can't you just tell the robot, "Hey, go get on that shelf up there"?
You're not
No.
in my truck.
Pod's gonna move your truck.
That's too easy.
Maybe they can't climb.
I will be right back.
It wouldn't be a podcast if Alex didn't leave it, so it's understandable. I think he's left every episode.
Yeah.
I need to keep a supercut somewhere. I will eventually. I might do that
Just
over
put
the
him
summer.
in the corner right here.
Yeah. I've been meaning to do that. It's just I've been editing on my laptop, and it's just kind of tough to do.
Yeah, these
So it's
people
just a
aren't
pain.
wearing. I just looked up. The people aren't wearing lab coats. At least the first time you see them, they're wearing weird stuff.
They are definitely are.
See,
'Cause
I
I
feel
think
like okay.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say these future people, man, they're making drugs.
Do you think there's like some weird drug that they're making out of energy cells, energy capsules?
I mean, that's probably why they keep those robots around at the end.
Yeah. Do you think the robots? I wonder if there are drugs for the robots.
I hope so.
Maybe
For
laughter
Oh yeah.
and fine cheeses. I don't know. If you guys had to have one of these robots in your house, one of the robots from the film, which one would you keep in your house?
Catskill.
The comedian.
Catskill.
What room would you keep him in? Would you keep him in your bedroom?
I would keep him in the bathroom.
Because he's already sitting down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep him in the backyard. That man smokes like a like a freight train.
You can't resell anything on eBay. It's all just marked up.
Probably keep the Val.
Really?
You can at least tell me about stocks or something.
Only lumber stock.
Wait, is
Listen,
it-
if I can get a
Which
good
kind of
lumber
stocks
stock-
is he telling you about? Is he telling you about the stock market?
I assume.
Either way, he's got business information I can use. Which sounds like you could just get from a computer.
Yeah.
But I guess you need a walking multi-million-dollar machine
Mm-hmm.
that tells you to buy a stock.
Wearing Buick seat covers. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just call that Warren Buffett.
Do you?
No.
Oh, thank goodness! I'm glad we
Never
caught
done
this
that.
lie on air. You guys think Alex is coming back, or
No, he's dead.
Yeah.
yeah?
I think he went to go move his truck or something.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
if I had to keep a robot, it would be little Phil, the little
Yeah.
guy. Because one, like, say you're coming home with a lot of groceries and you don't want to carry them up the stairs.
Yeah.
Just put him in that guy's his little crate, and he carries them for you. Also,
That's a good point.
You could teach that man how to sweep, and basically he's a Roomba.
He really
I
is just one
agree
step
with
off.
Christian.
That's all you have to do.
I think Alex, we were going around and saying which of the robots, if you had to keep one of them in your house, which one would it be, and where would you keep it?
Everyone knows the answer to that. Crime bot.
Crime-bot. Yeah.
Oh God, in the garage.
No, you would have free reign
My
of
Patrol.
your
bedroom,
house.
behind me,
You're
all the
right.
time.
You put him on patrol around the house.
I would put him on lawn duty because he
John,
has to
what would-
handle on what's a bush and what's not. Yeah.
John, which robot would you have?
If not CrimeBot, which obviously was definitely my first choice, I feel like, honestly, I'll go a little bit more offbeat. I would probably keep the robot that drives the forklift in the warehouse, mostly because of that Daft Punk bucket head that he's wearing. And then I would use him to tease that there's a new album coming out that isn't really coming out. And yeah, that's what I would do. I would transition his skills from the forklift to the synthesizer. I think it's a pretty natural skill set.
As I was looking at the Wikipedia page, I learned that this film had been nominated for an Academy Award.
This is true.
There's no way.
Now, for those who don't know, since we didn't pre-prepare some trivia, we can throw some out here. So, for those who don't know what Academy Award it was nominated,
I already know which one it is.
you do?
Also,
Yeah.
Okay, so
don't
Christian and Alex, was it A, cinematography, B, sound editing, C, best original score, D, hair and makeup, or E, best actor for Crime Bot?
E, obviously. But really, I'm probably going to say D, the hair and makeup.
I'm gonna say sound
It
effects.
was sound editing.
Sound editing.
Sound editing. Yeah.
It was the hair and makeup that they got nominated for. They
We
did
talked
not
about
win.
Who beat them?
An American Werewolf in London, I believe.
Oh, fair.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That we should talk about how bad that costume design was. I mean, like,
It's pretty bad.
obviously it wasn't bad if it was nominated for an Academy Award. But
Well, it's one of those filler categories, you know. Not to disparage the.
There was only
not-
2 nominated that year for best makeup.
Well, wasn't it also the inaugural year?
What?
I
Is
thought-
what?
I thought it was the first year that they had hair and makeup.
Oh, was it?
I thought I read that somewhere. I might be wrong.
I don't know. I just feel like the Academy. It's weird because I don't know how
Yeah,
that stuff's
you're right.
voted on, but like I don't know. This is just an example of they have a lot of hair and makeup. You know,
Yes.
it's they're like we should nominate it for that.
There were only
Maybe-
2 films that year that had hair or makeup in them. It was this and Werewolf in London.
They didn't invent hair until whenever this was 1982 or
81.
something. 81
Or
yeah.
82, whatever it was.
It's
Yeah,
anyway.
who cares?
but
Those
okay,
times
so, like,
didn't exist because I wasn't in them.
That's true.
Like,
What were you gonna say?
For like the costume design itself, like they're robots, right? The budget
think
for
so.
Star Wars, the budget for the original Star Wars movie, like the first one, was $11 million. The budget for this movie was $10 million. You think that they at least go back and look what a robot looks like? Take some inspiration from there, and then be
think-
like, okay,
I think 9 million of that went to building crime boss.
yeah, probably.
The flamethrower.
They put half of their money into John Williams, and then the other half
They
into
must
crime.
have, right? Like, because that man
They
was
had to-
riding high. Yeah,
They had to take
Yeah.
something from Star Wars.
yeah.
They should
The
have.
concept of a robot.
I don't know, because the little mask that they're wearing towards the end of the movie, I'm pretty sure, like at least on Aqua, the mask turns into just her face with paint on it.
Really?
I think that's
Oh,
true.
I don't think I noticed
I
that.
didn't even notice it.
I don't know.
I'll have to go back and look. I won't, but
You
We'll have
won't.
to
Yeah.
watch the movie again.
I'm never looking back at this movie.
you already did.
Just
That is
walk
true.
in, see Eli watching the movie. He's just face down on his bed.
The movie that finally did him in.
All right.
John, did you have some
Segment, you want?
fun trivia that you found?
That was one element of trivia. I did think it was just interesting that so this was the movie like we talked about. It was a $10 million budget. This was the movie that they were basically fielding to see if Andy Kaufman could be like a leading man for like bigger budget films, and it flopped so bad that he was not.
It flopped so bad he died.
It killed him because he died in '84, right?
Yeah, this was his last role.
This
Crime
wasn't his
Bot
last role.
finally
but
caught up to him is what happened.
yeah,
Ryan Bond.
that would be sad. Also, Crimebot just looks like a Dalek from Doctor
That's what
Who.
I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, looks pretty ripped off, or like a Dalek if like a Dalek worked out. But
America.
other than that, I didn't see anything super crazy. Oh, one interesting thing was that there was a rather famous actress who was offered a part. It didn't specify which part she was offered. I in my head hope it was Aqua, but would you guys like
Cindy
to guess?
Lauper.
Yeah, would you guys like to guess what prominent actress was offered a role in Heartbeeps? She turned it down. Her agent
I know
convinced her.
this.
In 82.
I know
Sigourney
this
Weaver.
one.
Hmm.
So yours is Sigourney Weaver. Are you sticking with yours, Kylan?
I know it already.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not Cindy Lauper, but I know the answer to this one.
I'm gonna say Carrie Fisher.
I'm gonna say Carrie Fisher.
Well, Christian, you called it. It was Sigourney Weaver. She
Nice,
really,
nice.
really wanted to take the part because she wanted to work with Andy Kaufman, but her agent convinced her not to take the movie because the
Good
Good
script was not
call,
very
agent.
good. Yeah, that's why you pay your agents a lot of money. But it's
That's
just
why we should get agents.
interesting- so we can finally make good decisions.
Yeah.
Well, tell
But
us to
yeah,
watch your movies.
they would convince us to stop the pod. They say just talk to your friends. You don't need to do this.
No.
No, I won't. No, you can't make me. I am curious. So say that this movie had been a hit
Mhm.
for whatever reason,
Yeah.
then I could see this being like, I don't know if it's considered a cult classic now, but I could definitely see this having a cult following, in the same way that Roller Boogie does. Uh, pitch me some sequels, guys. What would you do in Heartbeeps 2?
Easy one here. So the last scene of the movie is our boy Crimebot breaking out, going to seek vengeance.
Yes.
The sequel follows Crimebot's story to seek vengeance.
Mm.
I think that would be very entertaining. In all seriousness, I think that'd be an entertaining movie because Crimebot was a very good character, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Although I do question if it would get old after an hour.
I don't question it. I think we know the truth. It will last. Would it be so is that following directly from the end of Heartbeats, or is that a prequel to see how Crimebot got to the point that
There
it did?
could be a prequel made, but I'm thinking like a direct sequel following Crimebot.
Right. Okay, so
Alright.
I've got an idea, right? So this is sort of it's going to be an in-between movie, right? That's going to link it into another
Between
universe.
what? Okay, I see.
Between Heartbeeps 1 and a third movie that I can't reveal yet. So we take off pretty much right where Heartbeeps ends, right? They're living in the junkyard. They've just, they've had the second kid, or they've created the second kid. And Val starts thinking to himself, I'm a father now. I have a family. I have to provide. So he starts thinking, how can I use my lumber knowledge to drum up some profit here, provide for my family? And he goes, well, I know a lot about lumber, so I can get that on the cheap. So maybe I should get into construction, right? So he starts thinking, well, what am I going to make, right? So he eventually, he just sort of through, I don't know, maybe he goes into town, talks to some people. He lands on constructing decks for houses, right? So
Is this going to connect him with the College Humor video?
no, well, who's to know? So he starts building decks, right? He builds decks all over town. Gosh darn it. He rebuilds that house that got ruined by Crimebot or whatever his name is. So, as he does that, the people at the workshop start kind of realizing there seems to be a robot that's building decks all over town. Maybe we should get a handle on that, considering we lost like millions of dollars losing that robot. So
Yeah.
they start looking for him, right? Hold on while I Google something. So my thing makes more sense. Uh-huh. I didn't find it. So okay, yeah, I remember now. So, it turns out that company that owned the warehouse is nicknamed Tyrell, right? The owner of the thing is Tyrell. That's his name, and that's the name of the corporation. So
Clean.
I'm bad at laughing. So
Game of
You
Thrones
are.
tie-in.
no. So they're looking for this robot. They go, we've got to get this escaped robot. Where is it? And they just can't get a handle on him. Because they're moving from junkyard to junkyard at this point. So this robot's sort of getting a handle on how to avoid police, and he's also sort of understands how they think, right? He becomes sort of a detective at this point, right?
Okay.
Learned from Crimebot and from evading the Tyrell Corporation. But sadly, he's eventually caught, right? Totally devastated. They circuit wash his children, his wife, and he's the last one to be circuit washed. And the owner of the Tyrell Corporation looks at him. He says, "You've been very good at evading us. I'm going to offer you something after we circuit wash you. Okay, you're going to be a detective. We're going to need you in this new age of advertising and hunting down other robots. And your name's going to be Decker because you build decks." And then they're going to circuit watch him and cut to Blade Runner because you're past his Harrison Ford now. So that's my film. I think it'll really generate some of that $8 million that was lost.
Okay. My film. It comes out It is
This
set
is so stupid.
about 10 years later. It is set at the tail end of 1990. It opens with some, plane, a military plane. And, it's dark, but the lights turn on. Crimebot's in the back. The back of it opens. Crimebot rolls out. And where is he? But Kuwait. Yes. Crimebot is involved in Desert Storm.
Wait, don't tell me.
Wait a minute.
No.
The Gulf War with Crimebot. Co-starring Tom Hanks.
I like it. All right.
All right. All
John
right.
or Christian? Christian, you go, because John,
Okay.
he's having a moment.
So we fade from black. We're in a warehouse. You see shot by shot people putting together crime bots, multiple crime bots, crime bot after crime bot after crime bot after crime bot, until you're in the warehouse. You just see 300 crime bots just sitting there in the warehouse. One crime bot turns on and says, "Crime bots, we have perpetrators again." And they all turn on and they go rampant upon the town. All right? We flash to one of the warehouse guys, not the older guy, but the younger guy who went to college, right?
Yeah.
He's sitting in traffic on his way home to eat dinner with his wife and son. Okay? His son is played by Corey Feldman. And so he's sitting there, he honks the horn. He's like, come on. I need to get home. And then all of a sudden, he hears an explosion. It's a crime bot blowing up a DeLorean across town. He looks to his left. He looks to his right. At his right, there's 3 more crime bots coming towards him. He kicks the window of his car, breaking the windshield so he can get out. The door works, but he goes through the windshield and sprints home. And then all of a sudden, as he opens the door, the title screen comes on and it says, "Heartbeeps 2, Crime Bot, Attack." That's it.
Beautiful.
I love the casting of Corey Feldman. I don't
It was
know if it's
pitch
in the
perfect.
past as a child or if it's now as a grown man. But
I mean,
I
Corey
hope it-
Feldman was the 80s kid,
right.
Yeah. I hope it swaps between kid him and adult him between scenes. Also,
30 years to
That's
make
3.
yeah, it's better than Boyhood. When you said 300 crime bots, for a moment, I thought you were going to pitch a version of the movie 300
No.
instead of Spartans crime bots. And I was so excited. But this one is also beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
It's like Chopping Mall.
Chopping
What
Mall's
is-
so good.
With Dick Miller?
Yeah, with Dick Miller.
The movie is good.
Dead meat.
I've not seen that movie.
You gotta watch Chopping
I've not
Mall.
seen it either.
Yeah, I'll put it on the list. Okay, so you guys will have to help me out because I have a few ideas
Mhm.
and none of them are as fully fleshed out, but I need to follow them where they go, right?
Right.
So my first thought is I think play on the strengths. So I think the warehouse is very good, specifically the people that work in the warehouse. So I want ideally like an office style series that is just a day in the life of the workers at the Tyrell Corporation hanging out with these robots, because there's 2 people in particular that apart from the main guys that we've talked about that I'm a big fan of, and it's CrimeBot is in its sensitivity training, and they basically have these cardboard cutouts. It's like of like a child or a woman with a baby, or a criminal, and it's basically CrimeBot is supposed to know not to shoot things that move, but he overreacts like crazy. So at first it's like a little girl, and it parades past, and he doesn't shoot it, and I'm like, that's good. And then a woman pushing a stroller with a baby in it is projected past, and he fires his flamethrower and eviscerates them. But then the response, if I'm recalling correctly, is interesting because CrimeBot clearly is overreacted here, but they say something to the effect, the workers there, that, oh, this is a lot better than he usually is, implying that this is like as de-escalated as he has ever been. So I would honestly pay for a movie that's just a montage of them showing different slides to CrimeBot and them overreacting like mad. So that's sort of a variant of this. So something in that vein, like a found footage or documentary, mockumentary style. That's just sort of a day in the life of an average worker at the Tyrell Corporation making robots. And my alternate idea is it's the thing with two heads, but it's CrimeBot and the comedian.
That would be
They're forced to share one body. So CrimeBot is still out on his patrol, and the comedian is just making one-liners the whole time.
what I wish every cop was.
All right. This has gone on pretty long, so I think we should probably go ahead and jump to superlatives and then give our ratings.
Mhm.
So does anyone have a superlative that they would like to award to the film Heartbeeps?
Best use of America the Beautiful.
It was very good.
The
Yes.
most. Oh, go ahead, Christian.
I was just saying, best use of flamethrower throwers. Yeah.
That's true.
I was going to say the most emotional death of a dad joke telling comedian who was really being a hero the entire time.
It's a list so long, but the comedian stands at the top. Eli, what about you?
Most unnecessary distinguishment between a shrub and a bush.
It's very Monty Python-esque in that way. Mine, I would say, is probably best American reboot of Doctor Who.
I would agree.
Inspector Space Time.
Yeah.
All right, so do you think this deserves a 0%? And what out of 10 do you give this film?
It absolutely does not deserve a 0%. It was not a fantastic movie, but it definitely had its upsides. Not a 0%er. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 10.
I would agree. I don't think it deserved a 0%. Probably 4.5 out of 5. Wait, yeah.
Out of 5.
Wait, out of 10. Well, yeah, out of 10. So I would give this movie, I would give it 2.5 stars. Probably. I round up a little bit. I enjoyed it. There were enjoyable things about it. I had a good time. It's slow in parts, but we'll take it.
Eli, I
Yes.
see you shaking your head.
It
You got a
deserves
minute.
0. I give it 1 star.
Reasonable.
Everything.
Oh, mine is the exact same as Eli. 0% and 1 out of 10.
Christian.
I gave it a 2 out of 10, but maybe like a 5%.
Okay.
That's reasonable.
More reasonable than these fools.
All
I
right.
mean,
Well,
it was watchable. Like, I didn't turn it off.
it's surprisingly watchable.
I wanted to turn it off.
I was obligated to watch it.
Well,
Well-
it looks like we're about out of time.
Yeah.
But boys, it's been fun. Christian, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you,
Is there
Christian.
anything you
Hey,
want to
thanks for
plug?
having me.
Yeah, of course.
Follow me on Twitter.
Very nice.
Do it.
We'll put that Twitter in the show notes.
Yeah. Put it in the shout outs.
Okay.
All
Also, next week, we're reviewing Megaforce.
Megaforce.
1982 action film.
That sounds like a good one.
I look forward to it.
All right, gentlemen. It's been real.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.